Welcome to the Wellnest Mamas podcast. We are committed to leading a sustainable lifestyle and making community connections. In a world where stress and chaos seem to be the norm, finding balance and fostering a sense of true well-being is essential.
Whether you are just beginning your holistic wellness journey or are already deeply dedicated to the practice, this podcast is for you. Join the Wellnest Mamas as we uncover the secrets to holistic wellness and discover the power of building a healthy community that supports and uplifts one another.
Sit back, relax, and get ready to embark on a transformative journey to leading a sustainably healthy lifestyle. We're glad you're here. Welcome back to the Wellnest Mamas podcast. I'm Caitlin, and I'm here with Steph and Paula Trott from AYU Shift.
Welcome, Paula.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you. You just told us, tell us what AYU Shift means. I think that is just such a cool...
Oh, well, I studied Ayurveda, and Ayurveda means the study of life. So Ayu is life, and then Veda, it means science or the study of or wisdom. So we all kind of shortened it as kind of Ayurveda geeks. We go Ayu this, Ayu that, like AYU Shift. So it's the life shift is kind of where that comes from. And Ayurveda, it comes from Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is all about sounds. So I and you is it's not a coincidence that it's like that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
It's fascinating.
I love it. It is. How did you get into this work?
Well,
how did you find that?
I spent 15 years in a high-pressure prototype company. It was fast-paced and tight deadlines, and it was completely opposite of my wiring. Eventually, my system overloaded and I shut down. Mm. I needed a way to help my system settle, and that's when I found Ayurveda. One herbal supplement that actually calmed me opened the door. So it helped me understand how food, habits, and rhythm either support or strain my system. That moment changed everything. I went back to school, became an Ayurvedic practitioner, and now I can help others decode their system as well.
Fabulous.
Incredible.
Fabulous.
Which herb was it?
Well, it was an herbal formula, you know.
Okay, so it wasn't like it was basil.
Correct. But see, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and my parents were like, you could call them, like my mother specifically, granola person. Mm-hmm. And so we did all the natural stuff. I worked in a health food store in high school and in college, and I've always had supplements and herbs, and I tried Chinese herbs and U.S. herbs first. But nothing really kind of connected. And so I tried all of those. At the time that I needed it, I was starting menopause. Mm-hmm. So anxiety is huge when you start. It's a bummer. But you have other things as well, unable to sleep, so you get hot flashes, and it just breaks you down.
Yeah.
So I was tried everything. I went to different clinics because I was having digestive issues because of the heat, and ear ringing because of the lack of sleep and all that sort of stuff. So I was desperate, and just one of them, it was an herbal formula for anxiety, and there was an herbal formula for menopause. And between those two, I was able to settle. I could sleep again. And I'm going, what was that?
Amazing.
Well, and because I worked in health food stores, I'm like, okay, a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. I got to go to school for this.
I love that.
So that's what I did.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So tell me, why cravings? I want to, if you're not watching right now, we have a bunch of foods and seasonings and different things on our little display
Lovely
table.
spread.
Not cravings, though.
Spread.
You don't see chocolate.
Yeah,
You don't see...
yeah.
I mean, looking at it, I'm very much craving some arugula and the avocado. Those look fabulous.
So, I was really excited whenever you were telling us what you wanted to teach on our podcast. This is such fascinating information. We are always looking deeper into the why.
Exactly.
So why do cravings matter?
Well, cravings are the first place for me. It's when I started to see the difference between my wants and my needs. So my needs spoke in whispers. I felt ungrounded, tired, and wired all at once. But my wants, they screamed. The cultural messages, I grew up with the idea that you deserve to be healthy, take the supplements, start this exercise, as if the fix was always on the outside of me. So when I finally stepped back, I realized my body wasn't asking for indulgence, it was asking for support. And when I began calming my system with food and simple habits, my nervous system could finally come out of fight or flight. That's when I came back online. And there's one thing that surprised me. When I cater to my needs, not my wants, my whole system builds resilience. My immunity grew, and my energy steadied, and everything felt more doable.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. So, with that, what are our cravings? What are they about?
It's a great question. Cravings are your body's way of communicating. They're not random, and they're not a lack of willpower. They're signals. They're little notifications from your operating system telling you something was missing from that meal, that moment, or that day.
Well, I tell you what, I can believe I've got a big cup of coffee right here, guys. That's so funny. I'm like,
we're good at it. We're all that way.
yeah.
Every one of us has a coping mechanism, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the body's trying to stabilize itself. So, no worries.
Many messages.
And no judgment.
I love it.
No judgment.
Many
It doesn't help
messages.
anybody to judge.
No, not at all. We get so many messages. So I think I experience this on the daily, and with my coffee, I get cravings.
Sure.
But it's confusing. It
Yeah.
might not actually be my intuition. So, like, why are people so confused about
Sure.
their cravings?
Sure. Well, I think it's because we were taught to judge our cravings rather than to listen to them, and to override them with rules or swap them with a healthy choice. But cravings aren't moral, they're informational.
Okay, so they tell you.
Correct. They're
Okay.
signals. Exactly. So they're trying to let you know, and that's where that whisper or scream will come in to place. So
Love that.
So, okay, there's a nervous system connection with
yes,
all of this.
yes, ma'am. Yeah. So our nervous system is our inner wiring. It's the part of us that tells us if we're fine or not. Cravings are one of the ways that the operating system requests support. They're clues about how our outer world can help our inner world go back into balance. When your system is overwhelmed, cravings will shift. Not because you're weak, it's because your body is trying to steady itself.
Always looking for homeostasis.
Yes, homeostasis.
Exactly.
We're always, that's
Exactly.
our goal, or the body's goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when something is too light, then we really need to look for something heavier to balance it, homeostasis. But vice versa. If
Yeah.
you're too heavy, you want to look for something lighter, homeostasis. So you're spot on.
And if anybody was not a huge science geek like me, that homeostasis
same.
is the return to normal or return to balance.
To balance.
Yes.
Not too high, not too
Right.
low.
Yeah. So, and everybody's unique. Our bodies all need different things at different times.
You probably aced that.
Yeah.
I did. Of course.
yes.
I graduated magna cum laude. I don't have very much opportunity to brag about that.
You should just wear a name tag that says that actually all the time. That is an accomplishment.
It is.
So even though we're all unique and everybody has that, do you see a lot of cravings in your line of work that are kind of common?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great question. There are cravings show up in different ways. So one way is that if you were missing a taste, and what that means is like you're craving chocolate after pasta because your body's trying to complete that meal. And then the second one is that the wrong fuel was added, and I use that sort of thing because of our system. I call it fuel and so forth. And it's just simply when midday you're craving something to try to bring your system back in, and it's trying to correct an imbalance is really what it is. It's asking for support, not for stimulation. So, and then we get confused by that because we crave different things. So coffee, for instance, is a pungent, it is a warming, and the stomach wants warming, but then you also get nicotine, you get caffeine, not nicotine, sorry. It's a whole different conversation.
Caffeine, I promise.
But the caffeine is just something that people enjoy, that little kick, that alertness, whatever. But your body, the digestion, is wanting to kind of bubble things up, kind of get things going. So we get lost in the caffeine and the addiction of caffeine over what the whole point is, and it's usually that warming. And if you're unsettled, now you want to add something sweet and something creamy, and we get into this is like a big old hug. You know,
ritual.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's a coping mechanism. It's a comforting thing, and that's where we kind of get lost in that, because I'm talking today mostly about the physical, but there's the emotional side of that, and that is, I could go on to that. There'll be a new one. If you can do that, I would love to come back. But the last thing is, it's nervous system grounding, which we've talked about. Nervous system. It's like craving something warm and sweet in summertime. It's your body, your system trying to steady itself. Just like you were talking about, it's trying to go into homeostasis.
So we might be fueling up with unleaded when our body is just really like, premium, please.
Exactly.
So, but there's nothing wrong with unleaded. It's still going to work
going
and fuel, but it's...
If it only goes so far, it's going to ask for more. And it's going to ask for more, you know, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
So it's not bad, and part of it is understanding what a sweet is. Our culture is different than the Indian culture of what a sweet is. So we can go into that a little bit later.
Interesting.
So I was watching a video the other day about how Germans integrate onions into sweets and cakes. And things, like, very commonly. I was just like mind blown, fascinated. But
and I add cinnamon into more savory foods. I'm going, that's really interesting. You know, it's our culture. We get stuck, as well as I was brought up with almost no spices. I mean, we'd have salad dressing, but really no spices. So I took to Ayurveda like a moth to a flame, because I loved it, and I loved how it was going, to the point where that's all I do is spices. You know, it's so easy to add these spices, you know, and have fun with it.
Wonderful.
I'm from Louisiana, so like spices, and that's always been a big part of, you know,
important
cooking
culture.
And exactly. That's so cool to be able to say I have that experience.
Well, and to your point, it's so important for the body. What you inherited is very, very big. So culturally, adding back the spices that you were brought up, adding back the fruits and veggies and even meats that your history, your whole family line would have eaten, is very, very helpful. So, and then if you're a beautiful blend of two cultures, you need to do blending of that, because there were reasons why, because in most cases, so if you came from Italy, for instance, there is that weather that's there, you know, whether it's humid or if you come from an area that's dry, the foods that were available hundreds of years were very different. And then the spices match that in a very different way. Whatever was available was over there, and was available was over here. So they worked with whatever was around them, compared to just shipping it in like we do now. So I think having too many options gets more confusing than not enough.
Okay.
So
Absolutely, So how do people, that's a good jumping off point, maybe like looking at your family history, but how do people start like really understanding that process in their own body and those cravings and all of that?
Well, you start by paying attention. When you start to pay attention, you start to see patterns. So you have to pay attention to what decisions you're making. You know, what are you drawn to? Did that work? Did that work out for you? Kind of like, oh, well, I really wanted a ton of rice. Well, now I can't move. It's that action, it's decision and consequence. That is the big thing that Ayurveda has taught me, is that they're very specific things, and it's not about rules, it's about action and consequence. And like, oops, maybe I won't do it as much, maybe I'll change the kind, whatever it is, but I have, and that's what the beauty of being a human is, that we have the ability to make decisions, and we can overdo this, mind you. And I can, whether I overthink something, all the way around the topic, which is what dyslexic and ADHD kind of do, the neurodivergent people do. But that's wonderful. It's just, we get to it a little differently, and sometimes faster, sometimes slower, because we're thorough thinkers. That's just the way it is. which is so helpful nowadays. That's where you can actually step back and say, was that decision good or bad? For me, when I am overstimulated on a day, I crave heavier foods. And if that happens to you, it's not because you're doing anything wrong, it's because your body's trying to protect you. So Ayurveda taught me how to choose foods that were both comforting and supportive. And honestly, I lost weight by shifting away from salads and toward foods that match what my system needed. And once you understand that, your system responds well, everything becomes easier.
Wow.
It took me a while.
That makes sense.
There was a lot of trial and error, you know, and going, ooh, I overspiced that. I did that. I was the best overspicer there was. But I learned. That's how I learned.
I like that shift of, like, if you're meeting the needs of your body, you're not going to be seeking out what it doesn't need as much. That
exactly.
Really, wow. I like that shift.
It's kind of an internal journey. Not everybody can do that. I mean, I had the time to do that, and I was in a point where I really didn't feel like I had a choice. But, you know, there are choices, and you can do it in a minor way. I am an all-in kind of person, and the only way I learn is to just throw myself towards it and see what happens and learn from that. Everybody's different, so you don't have to do it as gung-ho as I did it, but all the little things will make a difference. It really will.
So what happens if your meals are not meeting your needs? Like, let's look at the...
yeah. Well, if it doesn't meet your needs, if a meal doesn't give your system what it needs, you won't feel satisfied. And even if you've eaten enough, so it doesn't matter how much of one thing that you've eaten, it's just not going to sit well with you. So when cravings show up, it's just not a discipline issue. It's your body saying, I don't have what I need. And when you find yourself back in the pantry looking for crunchy, sweet, salty foods, that's because it's trying to fill in the gap. So your tastes are missing something.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Tastes, yes. We got to pre-read some of this. So there are 6 tastes.
Correct. So in the
that like
world,
salty, bitter, the
Correct.
parts of your tongue. Okay.
Correct.
Tell us more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in Ayurveda is based on the philosophy that everything is about elements, the 5 elements. So you have space, air, you have fire, you have water, and you have earth. So what they did is over time they watched and they actually put things together that, okay, some of it is a little bit of air, a little bit of space. So space is, if you look at a cell, for instance, I go back to science, sorry.
We love that, yes.
So in science, if you're looking at a cell and there's just an empty area that's not in with fluid, that's space. There's no wind. That would be air. So that's why space and air are different. And if you look out in the outer space, there are storms and things, but that is caused by the air movement. It's not caused by the space itself. That's like the structure. That is the framework of the universe is the space. And then air is actually moving particles. It's the communication. That's our IT. That's all the movement in the body. It's all of that. So when they were doing the science of life, they looked at taste, and the taste, everything in the world can be broken down that we eat can be broken down into 6 tastes. So we have the sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. So most people don't know what astringent is. Astringent is the beans. You know, that's in this, they draw in moisture. Cranberries without sweetener, they draw in. It's something that you would have in, like, you know, you want something to drink afterwards.
Okay.
That's the astringent taste. So a lot of, like, the Asian, they would club it. They would put together a couple of the tastes together, and that would be the umami, or however you call it. Umami. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it is a combination of some of those tastes, you know, and that's that, like, that unknown flavor that you can't put your finger on. That's what they use. But in the Indian culture, they break it down into more of the pungent, bitter, and astringent. So that's where that comes from.
Fascinating.
So I probably should explain what Ayurveda is.
We're learning. We're learning.
Yes.
It's a study of life.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So this is really, talking about the 6 tastes is really where Ayurveda comes in. Ayurveda is a traditional health system of India, and it's been around for thousands of years. And it looks at the whole person. It doesn't look at a single symptom like the Western medicine usually does. I was taught that Ayurveda is your user's manual. It explains how your body and mind are designed to take in, process, and digest life. Wow. And one of the simplest places to see that is through the 6 tastes. So the 6 tastes are one of my favorite Ayurvedic tools because they translate cravings into clarity. They are the body's fastest feedback loop. So you eat something, you get a response pretty quickly. You know, I like that, I didn't like that. You know, you'll see even dogs will take a lick and like, nope. It's like, I mean, you didn't even try it.
That was celery, ma'am.
It's like, nope, thank you. Exactly. Exactly. So kind of overall, the sweet taste grounds, the sour awakens, salty stabilizes, pungent warms, astringent cools, and bitter cools, and astringent draws things in. It actually clarifies. And here's the deeper layer. Your body actually needs all 6 tastes so they can repair, rebuild, and refuel itself. Because energy doesn't come from food alone, and that's where I think most people don't realize that. But it comes from your ability to break it down, digest, and metabolize food. So if you can't access the locked-in energy, then it's actually just going in your system and out your system. You know,
you can't actually
can't access
utilize it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you bring a wider range of tastes, you support your digestion, and when your digestion is supported, your energy becomes steadier and your cravings start to make more sense.
That's fascinating.
Yep.
So, what about the connection about the 30 plants? Is it a day or a week? What is 30
per week?
A week.
Yeah,
Okay.
we kind of talked about that
Yeah.
on another podcast with our gut BFF.
Which is
so
wonderful, and we need more
Yeah.
talk about that. But I felt, I mean, there's a lot of people that, for me, if I read something, I have to immediately apply it. If I can't apply it, it's gone.
Yeah.
I just, oh well, you know. So this is what I love about the gut study. The gut study found that the biggest predictor of a healthy gut wasn't probiotics; it was variety. So people who ate 30 or more different plants foods a week had more diverse, resilient microbiomes in their stomach, in their system. And when your gut is diverse, your system steadies, your mood steadies, your body thrives on a variety of tastes. And when you bring in more tastes, you naturally bring in more plants. You bring in more plants, you naturally support digestion. When digestion is supported, your energy becomes more reliable because you can actually metabolize what you're eating. So the 6 tastes and the 30 plants a week are really talking about the same thing. Diversity creates the resilience.
So you need to touch on all
All of
Right.
them.
Exactly.
Yeah, all of them. So what do you do if it's missing?
Well,
What do we do?
I created something that I call microheroes. They're tiny plants that add the missing taste to your body. And it's not a 30 servings of something. It's 30 plants. You need 30 plants across the week, not a day.
So spices count?
Correct.
Spices count.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Spices are the key because those are the prebiotics. So if you want to go back to yes, probiotics didn't fix it, it's because plants are the prebiotics. Spices specifically, they're intense flavors for a reason. So, and most spices have an abundant variety of benefits. And it's because one is warming and a little astringent. One is cooling and a little sweet. One is cooling and a little bitter. They all do different things. So as we combine them, the spices actually, if something is like, I love cayenne pepper, but it doesn't like my body, but it helps me clear out my sinuses. So I have to have enough cooling foods that spice can balance out so I don't overdo it and dry out my system. Because my system, I'm on the thinner frame, especially going after menopause, I have to be really careful. So I can't overdo it and dry myself out because your nervous system is your wiring that we've talked about before. And as you age, it's like wiring in you have to go back to old school, like if you see a wire from your cables. So over time, the amount of energy that we expend, the busyness that we have, the technology, the movement, all of that is kind of that outer layer of your wiring. And over time and age, specifically for me, it starts to dry out that coating. And so all more movement, you can break that coating, and now your nervous system's exposed. So that's why it's so important to actually respect and honor the nervous system, because that is everything. For instance, my family line, my father passed away from a very rare form of dementia and kind of an element of Parkinson's. It's all nervous system. So I know that's in my family. So I'm going to be doing everything I can to keep my nervous system steady. So I might have inherited tendencies to go in, it could be Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever, but I don't have to awaken that. I can keep it coded. I can keep adding more plastic to that wiring. So I have the ability to do that through habits, through food, through good sleep, and through herbal supports, which would be, different types of herbs. Basil is one, but it's usually holy basil, which is a different plant, but it still does the same thing. It brings in support. There are a lot of herbal supports, herbs in general, that can help the brain and the nervous system. I use them all because it's that important for me, because I know what I inherited, and I don't want to go down that path. I want to control my path. Do a little wiggle there.
We are in control of our lives. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. You can.
Well, and everything that comes your way is an opportunity to make a decision, either for you or against you, something to learn or something, whether it's going to help you, or if it doesn't quite help you, you learn from it, so the next time it will help you. It's a pattern that we can acknowledge, and that's, again, watching patterns. Do I always do this? Why do I always do this? Get curious. That will help. So curiosity, we're going, why do I always like this? Am I feeling sad? Am I do it because I'm, feeling? You can then start to figure out yourself a little bit better, one question at a time.
That is awesome. All right. So are any of these guys micro heroes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for asking.
Just curious. I was like, I think they probably are.
So, I'm trying to put it in the real life. You guys are moms. I'm not, but you guys are moms, and it's a big deal. I have a wonderful sister, and she has a family, and watching what she goes through, trying to please everybody, it's hard. So especially if, say kids want pasta, but you're going, pasta again? You have the ability to put something on your pasta, not theirs maybe. You can add a little balsamic vinegar. You can add stuff that will bring in the flavor, because kids are in a growing stage. When they're in the growing stage, they tend to want sweet, sour, and salty. So sweet, especially sweet in Ayurveda, is anything that builds the muscle. So that could be dairy is a sweet. You think of the normal sweet or like sugar, but really meat is a sweet because it builds, it layers onto the bone, it builds muscle. So there are many things you can add. There are healthier sweets, it's just a matter of, we need a sweet. What's the one that is, in my pantry, in my refrigerator, acceptable to me, I feel good about it, that's the one I'm going to go to, And then tomorrow it might be a different thing that's in the pantry, So you have to kind of get to, accept that sweet is okay, and we want to encourage that, and not just for children growing. Sweet is very important when we're in the middle life of hormones and career, and you need that because you kind of overheat yourself, because you're in this driving mode. Sweet cools the system, but it can also layer it on. So if you do healthy sweets like strawberries compared to a candy, or something that is just easy, so trying to do easy things, they both can sweet, but one would layer on and one would keep it, thinner. And so it's a matter of, is this summer, you may want to go towards one. If it's winter, you may need the other. It's really, it's a dynamic thing. And so that's where I found that's the hardest, is that you have to start breaking your habits. Like, I always eat oatmeal, always. You know, I always do this. Depending on the season, you may feel like you need to add a little cardamom to that to cool it down, or a little nutmeg and cinnamon to warm it up. So depending on the season, spices can help, help you still work with those basics. But then, when it's in the winter, you may have less water or use water, and in the heat, you can do something that's more like coconut milk that's cooling and have it more liquidy. You're going to have a whole different experience if you slow down and can take in the experience, which we all strive, we all struggle to do that.
Yeah.
But it can be done. Yeah. But to go back, so I brought 3 things. I brought a lot, but I wanted to share 3 things that might be helpful. So if a meal is too spicy, and that would be like Mexican or Indian, you want something that's cooling. And I brought an avocado. You can use vegan yogurt. You can use lime juice. Lime is different than lemon. Lime is cooling compared to lemon, which is warming. And cucumber. You can just chop up cucumber and put something in, and it will cool it down. There are a lot of dishes. So when I first got here, Mexican was really big, and they would say, okay, they didn't ask you, do you want mild, medium, or hot salsa? They just had kind of medium to hot salsa. And so if it was too hot, you would actually put ranch dressing in it because of the buttermilk that actually cools it down. So there are many ways to do the same thing, and there are a lot of cultures that already have that. How do you heat it up? Like hot sauce. How do you cool it down? That would be the ranch. So there are, if you look into the cultures, there was a lot of brilliance in them. Just over time, trial and error, they figured it out, and we just got away from some of those things. So these things, the avocado, the lime juice, the coconut yogurt, cucumber, they bring in the sweet and cooling properties that the body's asking for when the heat spikes and the system reaches for something that can soften and steady it. So that's kind of one. So if it's too spicy. The second one is if it's too heavy. That might be something like a pasta Alfredo or like a heavy meat dish, and it's heavy, but you want it. So at that point, you may want to add arugula. That's where it's spicy. If you smell it,
Love it.
you can smell it. It's kind of sharp. So that sharpness, even radish, you can do stuff like that. But you can also add lemon juice. That's a different type. It's more pungent. It's a little bit stronger. It's sour, but it has this pungency. But you can add vinegar and black pepper, and these will lighten up the heaviness, and it will help digestion move again. So because heavy foods slow the system, and sharp and bitter tastes wake up the digestion again. So it's going to kind of slow it down. So you want to kind of do that balance, that homeostasis, what can lighten it up. So now I get the nutrients that I need out of the heavy, and the lighter stuff will help it go through the system. So
that's so fascinating.
And then the last one is if a meal is too bland. That could be like plain fish or chicken, and that just is kind of blah. At that point, you want to add something sour or pungent. Pungent are spices. Those are the sharp, those are the interesting things that you taste and go, I know what that is. That's because it's very distinctive. Those are good spices for you. But you can also add, I brought, a lemon. You can do a squirt of lemon or a twist of lemon, so you can do a little bit.
Lemon basil chicken.
Exactly.
Basil, that sounds fantastic right now.
And then you can also add black pepper. So I would, it was very popular in the 80s as lemon pepper, everything. But you can add vinegar. You can add a hot sauce. Here's tahine, which is very popular, which is more of a red, like a cayenne pepper with lime in it. And what else here? Oh, you can add ginger or cumin. Both of those are distinctive, and those flavors if you like them or you don't, But you can do a sprinkle on your own. You wouldn't have to do it on everybody's. So that's the big thing, is that yes, it's a community meal, but you have to encourage everybody to find their homeostasis. Going, it's too heavy for you? Well, let's add some hot spice, because some people can handle the heat, some people can't.
I've actually had my kids make their own spice mix.
That's
and
wonderful.
it is so helpful to get them helping first, you know, in the kitchen, but they tailor it, and you can tell that they're thinking about what they want to put in theirs, and then they eat their food because they made it with their spices.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. That's so cool that it almost is intuition in a way.
Absolutely intuitive. It's completely, and that's where cravings, the whispers are intuition. The shouts, the screams are just your culture kind of, this is what you need, or this is what your family always did, whatever it is. It's a pattern that you just kind of pick up going, this is the easy button, and it's really not. You have to go with the whispers. You have to go, you know, subtly taste it. You know, when the kids go, they're really thinking about it, it's like, wow, that's a big thought for a little taste. No, that's exactly what they're doing. So as kids get older, we shut a lot of that stuff down. It takes too much time. You're not, you know, it's too complicated for me. I can't make it happy. But if they're doing it on their own version, so if everybody has a pasta, one wants Alfredo, one wants red sauce, and one wants just oil and vinegar, you could do that, you know, because you're encouraging individuality compared to let's all kind of conform. And that's hard for parents, and that's hard for families, and I get that. But I said just recently, going, okay, I'm 55. I think I'm ready for a family. I've dealt with all of my stuff. I'm like, too late.
No, it's not.
No. My energy. I just adopted a couple dogs, and one I helped rehab and get rehomed, and the other one's with me. And I'm telling you, I don't have much energy for a 4-year-old.
A lot. Yes, they do. I have my two youngest children are dogs, and they do. They're very, you know, it is demanding. So.
But they know what they like, and that's where I learn a lot through watching dogs. I also work with horses, and you know, they know. They do it because they're a more intuitive breed. They're a more intuitive animal than we are, because having us make more decisions really doesn't help our dogs. Right. We get in our way more than we help ourselves sometimes. Just sometimes. But so I don't know if did
we do bland? Sorry, I might have.
So bland, you want to add something sour, pungent. Lemon juice helps. Vinegar, hot sauce, spices like ginger, black pepper, and cumin. So that's where we stop. They wake up the meal. They give your body the spark it was missing, because bland meals don't activate digestion. You're not interested. Your body's not interested. You know, so you're not going to, the juices aren't going to get started if you're going, what did I do? Why did I eat that? You know, that's kind of where it comes from. And that's when you're going, I got to go find something else sometimes, you know? But it's the sour and pungent, and the pungent are most of the spices, again. They help your system switch back into a metabolizing mode. So it goes, okay, oh, that's better. You know, it's like eating the first bite and go, oh, I need something. Encourage yourself to do that. Don't just go, I'm in a hurry and I'll eat it. Just go, you know, maybe I just need a little black pepper, lemon pepper. Just put it in there going, that's better. You know, you have to find a way to enjoy it. And so if your food isn't enjoyable, it's not a full system, you know, experience. And that's where you start craving other things. So that's the big thing. So cravings point towards what's missing. Okay. And then when you kind of shift, they will help your system find a complete meal at that point.
So where can people learn more? Where can they reach you?
Well, on this topic specifically, I put together a guide. So if they want to try this at home, I have a free guide called Calm Cravings and Stop Overeating. If you want to go deeper, I recorded a presentation called Why Your Body Still Complains Even Though You're Eating Well. And again, cravings aren't the problem. They're communication. When you understand your operating system, everything else becomes clearer.
Excellent. So is that on your website? Yeah. And what is your website?
It's AYUShift.com. AYUShift.com.
Okay.
And we'll make sure to put that.
Yeah,
we'll drop it, and we'll put a link directly to the guide. That would be pretty helpful. Yeah. So,
is there anything else you want to share?
Final?
Yeah, I guess so. The biggest thing that I've learned through trying to build stuff like this is that your body is your longest relationship. And what I mean by that, it's the first one that you came into the world with, and it's going to be the last one you leave with. No one else can be that way for you. So if you look at your body like a friendship, like a best friend, like a partner, you start to look out for it. You start to want to support it, not just tax it, not just tell it, shut up and do what I want. It's just, you change the way you look at yourself. And that is helpful in so many ways, because now you're actually listening to those little intuitive hits going, you know what? I need a break right now. You know what? I need a moment, and these are the things that can help. The more you do that, the more you listen and do these tiny little shifts, it will build your own confidence, in your kids to go, what do you want to do right now? Giving them the ability to say, I do this or that. And you're going, okay, well, I know you want to go fly a kite, or, let's go pet a giraffe. Well, I can give you one or two things and you can choose. That sometimes is helpful too. Like, you can't always just open the door and go, what do you want? But if you can give them, guides to say, these are 3 fun things to do, which one do you want to go to? Then it makes your system happy, because you know what you want and you're comfortable with. And then they get to decide, which again, that's something that you want to encourage them to actually fulfill some of their needs. And that's what it is. It's a need, not a want. So those are the things that you kind of have to start honoring, both you and not just your child, but also you. What makes you comfortable and still gives them some, some joy, and that's a balancing act, So to kind of cover everything that I wanted, because there's so much to say, I guess the things that we walk through today would be, one is that your wants scream and your needs whisper. The second thing is that your cravings are notifications from your operating system. Third is that your nervous system, digestion, and taste shape the signals your operating system uses. And the fourth is, when you bring in more tastes, more plants, your system becomes steadier and clearer. So when you shift from managing your body to more of a relationship, being in relationship with it, everything softens. It doesn't feel like you're fighting it. And your signals will make more sense, and the cravings won't feel so confusing. And everything, especially food, is easier to navigate because you know what doesn't work for you anymore. So, and finally, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share this with you.
Thank you so much. We're really honored. This information
is going to be so well received. This information is so basic, but at the same time, it is the basis of life and living a good life. So.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, I mean, I am driven to talk about stuff that isn't, digestion isn't sexy, but feeling good is. And 100%. How do you get there? Yeah. That's the messy middle that I'm willing to talk about, because, arugula is not the most.
I mean, I don't know. That looks great.
But thank you so much.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yay. That was incredible.
It really was.
Paula, you did.
I'm inspired.
I'm
inspired.
So impressed. Have you ever done a podcast before?
Well, not in person.
Okay.
Only through
Zoom.
Through Zoom.
Yeah.
And either whether it's talking, or a couple of them I've been on that they wanted to be off camera, so we read. So I'm like, that's easy for me to read.
Yeah.
And I also just wanted to. I brought something for you because thought you'd want to try it. This is what I started with years ago, and this is chocolate made out of the 6 tastes.
Oh, really?
So the small is if you're scared, and the large is if you're going for it.
I don't want to have it because I just got my braces on, and I'm concerned about it getting caught up in my...
Caught in there. Yeah, she's on soft foods. These are dairy-free and all of that.
Dairy-free, gluten-free.
I mean, I'll try one in the little one, Okay. Thank you.
Tell me how it is.
No peanut.
I'm kind of...
No peanut,
I'm good then.
Yep. So mostly spices.
You can smell it.
Let me smell.
It's good.
Is it like a tongue?
Lemongrass, peppermint.
Yes. See how your system, you know it, you identify it.
Experience.
Yeah. Wow. It's fabulous.
It's very potent.
Can you make those?
I do make them. Yeah.
Cool.
You sure you don't want one?
I think you'd be okay, because you could just
melt it.
Melt it. Yeah.
Okay.
Melt it in the back.
Do you want to use your tongs?
Sure, if you want.
It's up to you. I mean, Thank you.
I want that smell to just live in my nasal cavity.
So,
yeah, I think you can melt it to the back.
Ooh, that is fun.
yeah. So I have it very, very potent, so you don't need a lot. So like there's the big piece that, you know, you could have that, and it's more like an herbal supplement, because I have beneficial things that would be helpful for your brain, your nervous system, all in there. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I thought that's
That
what
is so
6 days.
I'm going to let that sit in there for a
That could be
while.
a
It's so
workshop
good.
all in itself.
Yeah.
You didn't eat the chocolate.
Eat it.
And write about
Yeah.
the experience.
I did one of my college graduating. It was PE credits, and it was a yoga weekend. And one of the yogas was food and taste yoga, and this was very what we did. And it was very much just being aware of what flavors and what feelings are going with that. So it was really cool.
Wow.
It was really cool. I'll never forget it.
It's so fascinating,
But,
because it really
yeah.
does tickle every part of your tongue.
Yeah. So I hit. So when I build a recipe, I'm like sweet, sour, salty, and I just go through the whole thing. I'm like, okay, what season is it? Who is this for? When am I doing it? Always calming the brain, which is called Brahmi, which is the herb Brahmi, but also nervous system herbs as well, because because of the natural caffeine, I always support the system. Cardamom is really good at doing anti-caffeine. So if you have your coffee,
My coffee, I put cardamom. The cardamom.
Yeah, you were always very attracted to
love
cardamom.
Yeah.
it's wonderful for you, and it breaks the craving and the connection to the caffeine. So it gets rid of that jitteriness of caffeine. So cardamom is key for that. So you're already on it.
All right. Shout out.
You're there.
Xylem
You're
here.
balancing it. Yeah.
Intuition's everything, but we're not really, in my generation, we didn't talk about any of that. So it's just a matter of, okay, I need to talk about that to say it's important, to start working through it and, embrace it, see what works for you, see what doesn't, that's where we're getting closer and closer to what our kids are already at, because children are already in tune with it. They're telling you exactly how they feel, what's coming out, what's going in, and so they have no inhibitions.
Yeah.
And once we start, kind of not stopping that, but slowing that down and go, "Ooh, that's not appropriate," that sort of stuff. They stop doing that, and then they start, we disconnect from ourselves, going, why am I doing that? And after, when you get to an adult, you don't even know why you're doing it. Just like I felt bad, so
Arbitrary rules that somebody else made up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's, everybody does it for coping, so it's not done most of the time. It's not done for doing ill will, but it may have worked for them, but it doesn't work for you.
Wow, this has been so
Love it.
enlightening.
Yeah,
So-
it really
I'm
has.
so grateful to have
thank
done
you,
this.
and thank you for
We need a
letting me read.
cookbook. That was so
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Thank you for letting me read.
So
that could
good.
be your next
Yeah.
project.
Cookbook.
Ayurvedic
Yeah.
cookbook. I bet that exists. But
I'm sure, but I want that. I want that in a cookbook. Yes, yes.
that is so
Yeah,
fun.
it's so
Fabulous.
easy to
This
make.
is wonderful.
But